All right, good morning, or I should say afternoon. Ladies United Ministries, good day. I was supposed to be on here last night, but I was spending time with the family. So this is our official book club for Ladies United Ministries, and this is the book I was talking about inside the group. I decided to do a preview inside of On Time, so that gives a lot of women an opportunity to see about what we're going to be discussing inside the group page. From here on out, it'll be inside Ladies United Ministries group page and on YouTube, and we'll upload the content to Instagram, Ladies United Ministries, so you all can get a snippet about what we're sharing here. So I decided to just come on and do it this way for you all. So we're going to read the first two chapters of this book. This is by Michelle Obama, The Light We Carry, Overcoming in Uncertain Times, ladies. If you need a copy of this PDF, you can email me or inbox me on Facebook, and I will send you a copy directly to your email. Hopefully, I'll be able to read it so you all can see it. I'm at to pull this presentation and pull it up in another format. It's really kind of small. Yeah, I think I might have to pull it up in another format, ladies. So this is a picture of look like Michelle Obama, her dad watering the grass, I should say. So this is basically an introduction. Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen and see if I can pull it up in a different format for you all. I just feel like that's too small. And I'm struggling trying to read the screen. To be honest with you all, let me see something. See if I can pull it up a different way. This would be a lot more. All right, ladies, I pulled it up in another format. So I'm gonna take this one down and pull it up this way, so that way you all be able to see it. There we go. So I pulled it up from Microsoft Surface, Microsoft Edge. So this is the book that we're reading, ladies. It's Michelle Obama, The Light We Carry. Everyone. And it's by Michelle Obama. She wrote that one, of Becoming in the Light We Carry. All right. The Light We Carry, Overcoming the Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama. All right. It's the copyrights and everything, as you can see it. See how it looks here. All right. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me for a copy of this PDF, you're more welcome to do so. All right. To those who use this light to make sure that others feel seen. This book is dedicated to my mom and dad, Marla and Fraser, who instilled in me the values I've been used to navigate the world. Their common sense wisdom made our home a space where I felt seen and heard, where I could practice and make my own decisions, where I could become the kind of person I want to be. They are constantly there for me, and their unconditional love taught me that I had a voice very early on in my life, and I am so grateful to them for initiating my life. Alright. So here's a quote from Albert Rio from A House Calling Tomorrow. If someone in your family tree was troubled, 100 were not. The bad do not win, not finally, no matter how loud they are. We simply will not be here. If that were so, you are made fundamentally from the good. With their knowledge, you never marched alone. You are the breaking news of the century. You are the good who has come forth through it all. Even so, many days felt otherwise. So we have the first two chapters here, which we'll be reading today. The first chapter is entitled "The Power of Small," and the second one is called "Decoding the Fear." All right, and this is like a ten. This book is 10 chapters. So each month we go over two chapters. Like this month we're doing chapter 1, 2. Next month 3 and 4. So September 5 and 6. October 7 and 8, and then we'll wrap it up in the month of November, and we'll start a new book in the Ladies United Ministries platform. So this is a picture of Michelle Obama. Here's my dad helping me cool off during the hot South Side summer. So Michelle Obama grew up in the South Side of Chicago, and that's her dad to your right of me with the water hose sprinkling her daughter out there trying to keep her cool. That's a great illustration. I always like the illustration of the pictures and whatnot. It's a different vibe to it. So the introduction. At some point when I was a child, my father started using a cane to keep himself balanced when he walked. I don't remember exactly when it showed up in our house on the south side of Chicago. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old at the time, but suddenly it was there, slim and sturdy, and most smooth dark wood. The cane was early a concession to multiple sclerosis, a disease that had given my father severe left leg limb, slowly and silently, and probably long before he received formal diagnosis. MS was undermining his body, eating away at his central nervous system and weakening his legs as he went about everyday business, working at the city water infirmary plant, running a household with mom, trying to raise good kids. The cane helped my dad get himself up the stairs to our apartment or down a city block. In the evening, he would sit it against the arm of his recliner and simply forget about it as he watched sports on TV or listened to jazz on the stereo, or pull me onto his lap to ask about my day at school. I was fascinated by the cane's curvy handle, the brown rubber tip at the end, the hollow clip it made when it fell to the floor. Sometimes I tried to use it, intimidating my dad's motions as I hobbled around over a living room, hoping to feel what it was like to walk in his shoes. But I was too small and the king was too big, so instead I would incorporate it as a stage prop in many games of pretending. As we saw it in my family, that cane symbolized nothing. It was just a tool. The same way my mother's spatula was a tool in the kitchen or my grandfather's hammer got used anytime he came over to fix a broken shelf or a curtain rod. It was a utility protective, something to lean on when needed. What we didn't realize was to acknowledge was the fact that my father's condition was gradually growing worse. His body quietly turned on itself. Dad knew it. Mom knew it. My older brother Craig and I were just a kid at the time. But kids are no dumber. And so even as my father still played catch with us in the backyard and shows up at our piano recitals and little league games, we knew it too. We were starting to understand that Dad's illness left us more vulnerable as family, less protected in any emergency. It's been hard for him to limp into action and save us from a fire or intruder. Were learning that life was not in our control. Every so often, too, the king will fell our father. He would misjudge a step, or his foot would catch a limp in the rug, and suddenly he stumble and fall. And in a single freezer frame instant with his body and mirror, we would catch sight of everything we were hoping not to see. His vulnerability and our helplessness and uncertainty and hard times ahead. The sound of a full-grown man heaving floor is thundering. A thing you never forget. It shook our tiny apartment like an earthquake, sending us rushing to his aid. Frazier, be careful, my mom said, as if her words could undo what had happened. Craig and I were leverage our young bodies to help our dad back to his feet, scrambling to reverse his cane and glasses from wherever they flew, as if our speeds is getting him upright, might easing the image of his fall, as if any one of us could fix anything. These moments left me feeling worried and afraid, realizing what we stood to lose and how to easy it could happen. Usually my father would just laugh the whole thing off, downplaying the fall, signing that it was okay to smile or crack a joke. There seems to be an unspoken pact between us. We need to let these moments go in our homes. Laughter was yet another worked tool. Now that I am an adult, what I understand about multiple sclerosis is this: the disease impacts millions of people worldwide. Multiple sclerosis trips up the immune system in such a way that it starts attacking from within, mistaking friend for foes, self for others, intruding the central nervous system, stripping away the protective casting from the neural fiber and causing addicts leaving their cladding strap exposed. If MS caused my father pain, he didn't talk about it. If the initiative of his disability diminished his spirit, he rarely showed. I don't know if he had ever taken a fall when he wasn't or not around at the water femory plant or walking in or out of the barber, though it stands to reason he did at least occasionally not. Nonetheless, years passed, my dad went to work and came home. Keep smiling. Maybe this was the form of denial. Maybe it was simply the code he chose to live by. You fall and you get up. You carry. I realize now that my father's disability gives me an early important lesson about what it felt like to be different, to move through this world marked by something you cannot control. Even if we weren't dwelling on it, the difference was always there. My family cared it. We worried about things. The other families didn't seem to worry about it. We were watching in ways it seemed others didn't need to. Going out would quietly cease up the obstacle, calculating the energy would be taken for my father to cross a parking lot or navigate his way through the bleachers at Craig's basketball games. We measure distance and elevation differently. We view set chairs, ice, sidewalks, and high curve differently. We assemble parks and museums for how many benches they had. Places where tired bodies would rest. Everywhere we went, we weighed the risk and looked for the some small effects for my dad. We counted every step, and when one tool stopped working for him, it utilized dwarfed by the strength of his disease. We go out and find another. Became replaced by a pair of four-arm crutches. The crutches replaced evenly by a mobile cart and a specially equipped van that were packed with the levers and hydraulics to help make up for what his body could no longer do. Did my father love any of these things or think they solved all of his problems? Not at all. But did he need them? Yes, absolutely. That was the tools are for. They help keep us upright and balanced, better able to coexist with uncertainty. They help us deal with flexing to maintain when life feels out of control. And they help us continue onwards, even while in the discomfort, even as we live with our straining exposure. I have been thinking a lot about these things, what we carry, what keeps us upright in face of uncertainty, and how we locate and lean on tools, especially during times of chaos. I've been thinking too about what it seems to be different. I'm struck by how so many of us wrestles with the feelings differently, and by the central or pertaining of different continues to be in our border conversations about what sort of world we live in, who we trust and who we elevate, and who we leave behind. These are complicated questions, of course, with the complicated answers, and being different can be defined in many ways. But it's worth saying on behalf of those who feel it, there's nothing else about finding your way through a world loaded with obstacles that others cannot or do not. When you are different, you can feel as if the operating with different maps, a different set of navigation challenges than these around you. Sometimes you feel you have no map at all. Your difference will often precede you into a room. People see it before they see you, which leaves you with the task of overcoming it almost by defining training as a result, as a matter of surviving. Really, you learn as my family did to be watchful. You figure out how to guard your energy and to count every step. And the heart, and at that heart of these lies and head spinning Ploxins being different conditions towards cautiousness, even as a demanding that you be bold. So, in the beginning of this book, ladies, it's giving you an intro about who Michelle Obama is and her family and her brother and her dad. and all the things that she experienced during that time. All right, it's a lot of intro, but I just want to kind of give you an introduction of what that looks like here. So this is Michelle Obama at one of her books events, and it looks like Oprah Winfrey right next to her, if I'm not mistaken. And she's sitting here touring her book, the book Becoming. The book Becoming was an absolute amazing book because I read it for myself, and I checked it out at the library, and I went through there. I read the whole entire book, and these are all the people that was there for the book Becoming too. It was one of the most meaningful experiences of her life. It became a tour where she went around different countries, different states, to just promote her book. And now she has this book out, which you can all purchase at all your local bookstores or even online, or even you can get a copy from me if you want the PDF file and read it at your, read it along with Ladies United Ministry Book Club that has been launched since the beginning of June. And we're just starting our first book. So these are the people that's in the book, and she's just so excited about all the great things that are taking place here. All right. As you can see, I'm scrolling down because I'm trying to preserve my voice. Reading that first intro took a lot out of me. I should say. So, as Ladies United Ministry Book Club gets a little bit more in depth, everybody, we begin to see a lot of things happening. So, ladies, I encourage you to share that One Time Ministries has a Ladies United Ministries platform for ladies, and we do have Women United Ministries, but we're starting off with the Ladies United Ministry Book Club, and we want to touch as many women to join the book club. We're doing it Facebook Live right now until there's a lot more women who want to, join into the book club, and each the book that is shared to this platform for Ladies United Ministry will help every young woman and woman of all walks of life. So if you are interested in being a part of Ladies United Ministries group page, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, follow, like, and subscribe our group page because we have our monthly book club, and I'm just showing you a preview on One Time Ministries main page and shared inside Ladies United Ministries page, but normally it's usually in the Ladies United Ministries group page as well as YouTube. But I wanted to give you all a chance to see what we're getting ready to embark in and share in this group as many women who can join the book club and enjoy the book session. This is pretty much an interactive book club where a lot of women discuss and comment on certain things that you may have read in the first two chapters of the book as we go along this journey together. I felt the need to share this with you all because ladies need encouragement and power every day, and they need to find sisters that is going to give them a positive outlook on life. And the book club for our ladies in our ministry would be a very good outlet because you may have different things that you want to bring to the group that a lot of women may not be aware of, right? So I'm just using these two books. The first one I said Michelle Obama. The second book we're going to be doing will be Michelle Williams about checking in, and after that, the floor is open for whoever wants to bring another book inside the book club and continue to promote on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube to get the word out there. Ladies Journey Ministry has a book club now that you can partake in, but the two books we're starting off with is Michelle Obama, and the next one will be the Michelle Williams book. So you can have a concept, and after those two books are done, the floor is open for all of you to share the books that you want to share inside the book club, so that way women have access to it. They don't have access to get it through paperback or hard copy. They can get it as a PDF file so they can follow along on their phones or in their tablet device. So this is part one. This is by Maya Angelou. Nothing can dim the light that shines from within. All right. So this is the phenomenal Michelle Obama right there. And it looks like that's a picture of her and her, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know who that little child is right there on the left, so I'm not gonna say, but it might be. I can't really say. So, but there's a picture of her and I guess another baby, or maybe a relative. I'm not 100% sure, but she's doing what she's doing best, being great. So this is Michelle Obama knitting. Knitting has helped show me how to settle inside mine. So as you can see, she's knitting inside the photo. That's kind of helping her mental state, which is very important. So now we're jumping into chapter one, everybody. Let me see. Like, Pastor, what are you doing? I want to see how long chapter is. I'm not trying to be funny for the sake of time. And then let's see how long. It's a long one, but I just want to see where we at. I know. Whew. We're going back up to the beginning. I just want to see something, everybody. Okay. All right, let's get to it, Ladies United Ministry. Let's get up the chapter. We're going to start our first chapter. We're going back to the beginning, ladies. So again, we can download. I just want to see how long the chapter was. All right. So this is chapter one, the power of small. So this is a very lengthy chapter. So I got my water. So I'm going to be reading, and you can follow along in your books if you have a copy of it, or you can also look at it on your PDF, or if you have the audio version, you can listen to it as well, as long as you are following along, Ladies United Ministry. So I'm going to go ahead and get started for the sake of time. So we should be wrapped up with our book club segment about 1:30 today. So I have to jump back on Ladies United Ministry to do our segment about dream the life you want to see in your life segment, which we've been talking about self-care inside the group page. All right. Sometimes you recognize a tool only after it starts working for you. And sometimes it turns out the smallest of a tool can help us to sort through the largest feelings. I learned this a couple of years ago when I mailed ordered myself one knitting needle without quite realizing what I needed them for. This was during the first fragile week of the pandemic, and I was in our house in the White House. Okay. Washington, D.C. I became online shopping in a scattered shop way, laying in things like board games and art supplies on top of food and toilet paper, and unsure of how anything can go. Fully and sleepily aware that impulse shopping is a classic American response to anybody in the bedroom, anybody in the daddy in the room. What, you going to the bathroom or the room? Huh? It is 12:21. Sorry about that, my baby boy. I was still okay. Where was I? Sitting aware that impulse shopping and classic American response to uncertainty. I was still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that in what felt like an instant was gone from normal life to a full-scale global emergency. I was still trying to wrap my head around the fact that hundreds of millions of people were suddenly and seriously in harm's way. And that's the safest thing the rest of us could do at the time was to sit quietly at home. Day after day, I stared at the news, struck by the acute unfairness of our world. It was embodying in the headlines and the job losses and the deaths and counts and the neighborhoods where ambulance screamed loud. And I read articles about hospital workers who were scared to go home after their shift, afraid that might affect their own families. I saw images of morgue trucks parked on city streets, concert venues being converted into field hospitals. We knew so little and feared so much. Everything felt big, everything felt consequential, everything was big and everything was consequential. It was hard not to feel overwhelmed. I spent the first few days by checking in by phone with friends and making sure that my mother, now in her 80s, is living alone in Chicago, had a safe way to get groceries. Our daughters arrived home from college, both of them shaken by what happened, a little ridiculed to leave their friends. I hugged them both tight and assured them this was only temporarily, that before long they'll be back to going to loud parties, fratting and socializing, exams, and eating Roman noodles in the dorm rooms. I said, in order to help myself believe, I said it because I know that parts of the job of being a parent to a project an extra smother of certain, evenly as your own knees are bucking a little bit beneath you, even as you are privately excited about far bigger things than returning your children to their friends. Even when worried, you say your best hope out loud. At times went by, our family settled into a quiet routine, anchored by the longer than usual dinners in the evening. We perceive the news comparing notes on what we heard or read. The day's sober statistics or the unnerving erring message coming out of the White House, our former home. We tried out the board games I bought and did a few puzzles, watching movies on the couch. Anytime we felt something too loud about, we laughed because otherwise it felt too scary. Sasha and Malena continued their schoolwork online. Barack was busy writing his presidential memoir, an increasing focus on the fact that American voters will soon be deciding whether Donald Trump should stay or go. I meanwhile put my energy towards an initiative I'm helping start in 2018 called When We All Vote, meant to empower voters and increase turnout at the polls. At the request of our mayor, I took part in a public service campaign humbly named Stay Home DC, urging city residents to shelter in place and get tested if they felt ill. I recorded encouraging messages to be passed on as an exhausting emergency room worker and is effective to ease some tiny parts of the burden I knew many parents were carried. I launched a week video series in which I read storybooks out loud for kids. It is hardly felt like enough. It surely wasn't enough. This was like reality. I think many of us were sitting with at the time. Nothing felt even remotely like enough. There were just too many holes to fill. Next to the mourning of the pandemic, evilly affected felt small. Trust me, I have illusions about my own relatives' luck and privilege in this situation. I understand that being focused to sit largely on a sideline of devastating worldwide emergency is no source of hardship, especially compared to what so many others went through during this time. My family did exactly what a lot of us had been instructed to do in the name of the safety for all, was battled down inside a reckless storm. As I know it was for many others, for me, this period of stillness and isolation was seriously challenging. It was like a trapdoor opening into the stew of worry. I could not make sense of the beginning to control. I spent a lifetime at a point staying busy, keeping busy in parts, I think, as meant of trying to feel some sense of control. At work and at home, I always lived my list, agenda, and strategized plans. I used them as my roadmap and means of knowing where I was going. All the service of getting there effectively as possible, I could also be a little obstructive about making measuring progress. It's possible I was born with this impulse pre-instilled. Maybe it has been given to me by my parents who maintain a rock solid faith that Craig and I have capacity for greatness, but who also rather pointedly were going to do the work for us, believing we were better of unbearing it ourselves. It is likely that some of the industrials came from my circumstances. The fact that in our working class neighborhood, opportunity settlement dropped itself on anyone's doorstep. You had to go looking for it. Sometimes, in fact, you had to dogly hunt it down. And I had no problem being dogged. I spent years throwing myself into getting results. Each new space I entered because of provision ground, I wore my business like a badge. I tracked my progress through statistics, my GPA, my class rate, and was rewarded for it. Working in a corporate law firm on the 47th floor of Chicago's skyscraper, I learned about squeezing the maximum number of blabbing hours out of each day, weeks and months. My life became carefully counted stacks of them. Even as my happiness started to wane, I was never one of the hobbies. Occasionally, I caught sight of people, unusually women meet in airports and university lecture halls or while riding a city bus, but I never gave much thought to them or to Neil sewing, crotching, or anything like that. I was too busy clocking my hours and tracking my statistics. Knitting was there. They buried in my DNA. It turns out that I am the descendant of my seamstress. According to my mother, every woman on her side of the family learned how to work a needle and thread, a sewing, a crotch and needle, a net. This was less about passion, more about practical sewing was a simple hedge against falling into poverty. If you could make or fix clothes, you will always have a way to earn money. When little else was reliable in life, you could rely on your own two hands. My great grandmother, Annie Lois, new to me as Mama, lost her husband at an early age, but maintained to support herself and two little kids in Birmingham, Alabama, in the part by taking in other people mending. It kept food on the table for similar reason. The men in my mother's family learned skills like carpeting and shoe repair. The extension family shared resources and income homes as a result. My mother grew up in the house with two parents, six siblings, and also for some years, Mama, who had moved from Birmingham to Chicago, continued sewing, mostly doing an alternate for wealthy white folks. We didn't have an overabundance of everything, my mother said, but we also knew we weren't going out to eat. During the summer months, Mama would pack up her singing sewing machine and travel with it by bus. Hours heading heading hours north or south, city to where one of the families she worked for had a lakefront summer house. She would stay there for a few days at a time. Nobody in the family could quite imagine the destination, a place where sailboats bubbled in the water. Children wore linen and vacation last for months. But what they didn't know was the weather was hot, the singing was heavy, and at the point Mama was anything but young. The whole burdenless endure would cause her son, my grandfather, Prudence Shelton, whom was later called Southside, to shake his head and wonder how loud why it was that people who could afford a vacation home could not also maintain to buy their own sewing machine for their home. Bearing in mind the hasty of carrying that weight, but of course there was no way to politely pose the question to the people in charge. And anyone that answer was clearly already clear. It wasn't that they could not. It was just that they didn't. It's like they never even gave it a thought. And so off, Mama could go lugging the singers back and forth over the course of the summer after other people clothing. This story has stayed with my mother all these years. She tells it without motorizing, but what beneath it is quite a passed down memory of the weight that she been carried over time by our family, our people, all that they need to fix, serve, and mend and lodge in order to get by. All right. So, ladies, I read part of chapter one. I can feel my voice getting very scratchy, I should say. So, I want to end this here because I know I said I do chapter one and chapter two, but I have a lot of topics and things I need to share this week, so I need to shut this down right here. But you ladies, you've gotten the understanding of what we're doing. But we're going to go through chapter one and finish that up as well as two. So, ladies, I encourage you all to read the book, The Light That We Carry, to read the entire chapter one and chapter two of this and continue to just really feed it. And we're going to come back next month to talk about these two chapters and go in great detail of chapter 3 and 4. And I just want to kind of just give you an insight of what that book could look like. But we'll definitely be inside the group page for Ladies United Ministries next month on the 29th of each month. It's not on any particular day. The 29th falls on a certain part of the day, and that's when we do our book club, I should say. And also, too, what I want to mention to you all, excuse me, if you don't have a copy of this, you can email me or inbox and say, Pastor J, I want a copy of the PDF file that you have on standby so I can go ahead and read those two chapters so we can go over it next month. So, again, the time for the book club, it was in the evening time, so I think about 12 p.m. will be a good time to kind of go over that so that way you all can really get a full understanding. So, I read like majority, read like, I want to say, I wasn't half, it was like quarter of it, not even, I wouldn't say like a quarter of the book, not even that, you would say. But I was able to kind of give you the gist of what we're doing in the book club. So, ladies, if you are interested in participating or being part of Ladies United Ministries Book Club, I highly recommend it. Share it with your lady friends because this is a book club for ladies. Fellas, you are more than welcome to chime in, but this is primarily for ladies, for us ladies to grow and thrive in excellent stability, I should say. So I want to close in prayer and I want to jump on Ladies United Ministries platform to do our segment today. I can feel my voice getting hoarse, so I'm going to shut this down because if I continue to read, I'm going to be doing this. And not, my voice is not going to be any good this week. All right. Lord, I just thank you for the opportunity of sharing the new topic and the new subject line in Ladies United Ministries for the launch of our book club. I pray for every new woman and current lady who are part of this ministry to be blessed tremendously, God. Touch their hearts today and touch their mind, God. Order their steps in wherever you want them to go. As we close and regather again next month in our book club, I pray blessings over their lives and anything concerning them from here on out, Father. Lord, we thank you and honor you on this given day. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. All right, ladies, United Ministries, I'm getting ready to jump off of this live and get ready to get on Ladies United Ministries group page to talk about our topic today. So, if you have any questions concerning the office one time ministry days from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. I love each and last one of you all. I had to stop because I'm feeling my voice feels some type of way. So I'm gonna calm down, go on here, ladies and administrators, be patient, and give you a word of encouragement, and get off and rest this voice for the day. All right, Queens, I see you all next month in our book club. Get ready to jump off here and go to ladies and administrators group page. For those of you following, like and subscribe. Get ready over in the next 5 minutes. Stay tuned.